So it's finally time to do some New York City apartment hunting. Okay, so this video is officially the last video that I will be filming here in my London apartment. So obviously the time has come that I am going to be moving to New York City to be with my fiance and my dog Jonah. I don't even know if you can hear those sirens right now, but it's just going to give you a taste of what these videos will be like once I'm in New York. We viewed a total of 5 different apartments and we did finally sign the lease to one of them. Now, my fiance already lives in New York and we were on a bit of a time crunch because her lease of her studio apartment was coming to an end. So we needed to find something quite quick. Now, if you're in New York, one of the main apps people use is Street Easy. And I can tell you that me and my fiance were on that for just hours on hours. Literally on my computer, I just had so many tabs open, but we did nail it down to these top 5. Now, I thought I'd walk you through some of the requirements that we had for the apartment. Some things were like, yes, they absolutely had to have these, and some things we were kind of like, if it does, great. If it doesn't, whatever. First major requirement was that it needed to be a 2-bedroom apartment. This is for a few reasons. One, both my fiance and I do work from home like 50% of the time. So we wanted a room that was kind of like an office and also dedicated for work. Another reason is that her and I, our families are both located all around the world. None of our families are actually in New York. So we wanted to have a spare room so that our friends and families, when they do come to New York City, they don't have to worry about getting a hotel, paying for a hotel, and kind of those added expenses. They can stay with us. And obviously that allows us to spend more time with them. And third, obviously I run a clothing line, so I need a space where I can put our samples and kind of like bits and bobs like that. So the more storage, the better. Which leads into another requirement, which is storage. Ideally, we want a place that offers quite a bit of storage. Now in New York City, this is quite a hard thing to come by on. So we're kind of going to get what we get, but ideally a place with storage would be great. A nice kitchen space, as my fiance loves cooking. Again, she's coming from a studio apartment, which it doesn't, you know, give you the best kind of like, I don't know, motivation to do cooking because everything's quite cramped. Even my apartment here right now, you know, it's nice, but the actual kitchen space is quite small. So if you are wanting to host people or cook up a big feed or something like that, it's not kind of like, there's not enough space for us. So what we're looking for is a place that kind of either got enough counter space or even enough space for us to bring in our own kind of like kitchen island from like IKEA or something like that. 24 hours concierge is a big one for security, but also I get a lot of packages delivered from my clothing line. So ideally to have someone just there all the time who can sign for them so I don't have to stress about that is great. For my work, obviously good natural lighting. Again, coming from this apartment, which is just beautiful natural lighting, it helps so much creating content. So that is definitely key on my list. A dog park nearby for Jonah. Washer and dryer in the apartment is a must. It sounds weird me saying that, like in London, like that's just so normal. But again, I do know that in New York, that is a luxury. So those are the requirements done. So now I'm going to show you the first apartment that we toured. So this first apartment used to be, I think, like a department center or something like that. So it had super high ceilings. I don't know if you can like overly tell in the video, but they're about like 14 feet high. So when you walk in, similar to my place here now, a very just large kind of like entryway, which I always like. It just feels grand. Straight away on the right hand side, we're greeted with a bunch of storage, which again, I was kind of shocked by this. Like this could be its own room in itself. Literally, I'm walking into it just to try give you a little bit of an idea of actually how big this is. It was off to a good start just by that kind of like entranceway. Then we come on down again. This might give you an idea more of how big these ceilings are. We go into the right. Now this is kind of like, I guess, like the guest's bathroom area. Very big, very decent size. And even behind the mirror here is a ton of just storage for like skincare or whatever it could be. And it's just hidden away so nicely. Then we come into the first bedroom, which would also be an office as well. Very nice, decent size. What also was great about this is, again, more storage here, as you can see with the sliding doors. So I'd be able to easily store like all DS clothing and things like that. And then there looks to be enough space for like an office. And also what I'm thinking is like kind of like a futon, like a couch that folds out into a bed for guests. Then we come on out and we have the next bit of storage, which is obviously one of our requirements, a washer and dryer in-house, which also this one, again, a lot of storage. Like I was very kind of like taken away with the storage in this place. Then we come on to the main bedroom, which has its ensuite of another bathroom, which is pretty much like the one that you saw before. However, this one just doesn't have a bath. And then into the main bedroom area. Because there's no furniture in there, it does look maybe a little smaller than it actually was, but trust me, it was a very big space. And then we come into the main living room space. Two pretty big windows, so there would be some nice natural lighting. Pretty decent kitchen, nothing like crazy. The one thing that I did like about this kitchen though, is that, when I know like my fiance definitely liked this as well, it's a gas stove instead of an electric stove, which just for cooking is a lot nicer. I didn't really like the color of the kitchen, but again, you can kind of like wrap them and change that if you really want to. Overall, this was a really good start. Now, apartment 2 was literally in the same building, but it was on the 3rd floor, and this one actually came with a balcony. Pretty much the exact same layout with a slightly smaller living room space. Now, the balcony space was massive, so for Jonah, this would be, you know, really nice. However, again, if she wasn't out there, like, I don't know how much we'd be really using it. And because this was on the 3rd floor, there was a lot less natural light coming in. So for the balcony, you'd be giving up a little bit of natural light and a little bit of space. And it also added on $500 a month extra. Now we come on to the 3rd apartment, and this one was in downtown Brooklyn. Now in this building, we actually came to view a different apartment. However, they wanted to show us this one first. It was $1,000 above our kind of like budget that we had set ourselves. So because we were there, I was like, all right, you know, why not? You never know, you could just happen to fall in love with this place and you just get your budget completely messed up. So walking into this place straight away, again, on the right-hand side, we do have storage. Not as big as that first place, but still very decent sized storage. And then you also do have kind of like the guest slash the main bathroom area, which again, a very, very nice, decent size. Coming straight down, still pretty much at the entranceway, is where we do have the dryer and the washer, again, with a whole bunch of storage. Something like this, I would want to just add more kind of like shelving units to just really utilize like the height in there. So this apartment was on the 45th floor or something like that. So already I knew it was gonna have like great, just natural lighting. As you see here, you can see it just beaming through. Now we come in through onto the left, and you do have the, you know, the spare bedroom slash the office, and look at these views. Like this is insane. This kind of like straight away, I was like, oh my God, like I was like, this place is it. Just because of the view and the natural lighting, like straight away, I was like, wow, forgetting instantly about that $1,000 above our budget, but the view had me right there. Again, decent storage, but I can't get over that view. Then we come into the main bedroom, which has the ensuite bathroom. Again, this place actually had very high ceilings as well. And I did like that you could see kind of like, it was a little industrial feeling, like you could see like the concrete roofs and stuff, which kind of like I liked. Bathroom, very nice, decent size, good storage. And then again, that view, I can't get over it. But then you come through and it's kind of like this like connected walk-in wardrobe, which had pretty decent space in there as well. And then you come out into the main living room space, and as you see, it's just windows. It's so high up, amazing views. I kind of like didn't even look at the kitchen at first. I was just kind of like still taken back. The kitchen is actually quite a decent size because it does have a built-in island, which we both did like. However, this one did have an electric kind of like hob unit, which we did like how the first place was gas. However, that's not like the make or break point. After I kind of like settled down from that beautiful view and the natural lighting, I kind of realized like this kind of style of apartment wasn't what we were really after. Again, my London apartment now, it's a bit too new and clean and I guess like clinical for my liking. Now, yes, your decorating and how you furnish your place has a huge impact on that as well. But I did kind of just want a place that maybe just had a little bit more character to it. And this one did feel a bit like, just, I don't know, it felt just a little bit too clean, even though there were kind of like the concrete slabs, the concrete ceilings. It just felt a little too new. Then we go on to the 4th apartment, which is actually the one that we came to view. Now, what was great about this apartment was that they showed it to us furnished, which makes a huge difference. So this apartment was actually the smallest of all of the ones that we viewed, but because it was furnished, it actually felt, I wouldn't say bigger, but it felt like the same size. So seeing a furnished place makes a world of difference, and you can actually picture yourself living there. So walking in straight away, again, right hand side, we do have a closet space. This was the smallest of all of them, but still very good, just extra storage. And then we do have the washer and dryer again, which obviously is a huge requirement for us. As you can see straight off the back, the storage just isn't as big as the other apartments. Then we come into one of the bedrooms, and this is kind of what I'm talking about. When you have a bed and just a furnished place, it can just seem like, when I look at this, I'm like, I would not want a bigger room at all. Like, this is perfect. You got the wardrobe space, which is actually a 2-door sliding one. Then you come into the main living room space where we have the kitchen, which again, it's the same size as the one that you saw above with the big island. And then we do have the other bathroom here as well. So the difference between this apartment was that there was no ensuite. There's just 2 separate bathrooms, which was a little bit of a downside, as when we have guests and stuff, we kind of like the idea of like our ensuite bathroom is kind of like just for like my fiance and I, and then you have the guest bathroom as well. Then you come into the other bedroom, which is pretty much the same size as the first one. Seeing it just furnished up makes such a difference. Now, they actually had a pretty big dining table here, which was actually nice to see that you could easily fit that in, because we do want to have a decent sized dining table for like hosting dinners and having guests over. And then in the little nook area, it's kind of like what I call it, would be like the living room space. All up, I really like this apartment because one, it was way cheaper than the one that we had just viewed above. And also it just gave me, I don't know, it just gave me a good idea of like how we could create the space. But exactly the same as the apartment that you saw just before, it does still have that kind of like clinical feel to it, which I think I'm kind of just over. Now, this building though did come with a lot of amenities. So it had its own really insane gym, which I forgot to film. It had this beautiful, just stunning, pretty much rooftop pool, which just looked absolutely incredible. Like, they had their own lifeguard in here. They have a full-time lifeguard there, which is just crazy. And like, it looks great. Visually, it looks great. I would probably never use it, but it looks great. And then they also had like a green room with like just a whole lot of like flowers and everything like that. They had its own, almost felt like its own like WeWorks with inside. Like, they had these private booths where you can go, they're soundproof. Now, I think it's the amenities of what attracts people to like this building in particular. However, those amenities were actually not included in your rent. It was an extra, I think, $250 a month to cover all of those amenities, whether you use them or don't. And in my experience, for me personally, I never use amenities. I don't use my own balcony. On top of that, I'm not gonna lie, it just felt all a bit over the top. The simplest way I can say it, and I said this to my fiance kind of like when we were leaving, I was like, it just felt too fancy. And it just felt too fancy. Which brings us to the final apartment. Now, this one was located in Dumbo, Brooklyn. So when you walk in, boom, you're literally in the kitchen, which I kind of like a little bit of a hallway. Otherwise, I don't know, it just, boom, I'm in the kitchen type thing. I like there to be a little bit of just like an entranceway instead of just feeling like you just appeared in the middle of the apartment. On the right, we were blessed with another really good amount of storage. However, because the storage is right by the kitchen, I feel like a lot of the kitchen stuff would end up in that, which I wouldn't want. But this kitchen was by far the biggest of all of them. I did kind of like the U shape to it. It just had a ton of storage. As you see, it also did have a gas stove, which great for us, and a big island space where you could have bar stools as well. Then you have like the living room space, which was a little narrow, but it was long, and also had like some pretty big windows. So a nice, again, a lot of natural lighting to be able to come in, and no like really big tall buildings in front to block any views really. And then you have the main bedroom, which also has the ensuite. Again, big windows, which we really did like. And then you have the ensuite, which actually had the dual sinks as well. So, the his and hers type thing, a lot of also just cabinet space. And then also we have the walk-in wardrobe, which again, ton of space. So happy to see, especially to like a lot of height as well. So we can just like build up the storage too. Walking over to the other side of the apartment, we do have the washer and dryer, and then the guest bathroom as well, which is just very big. I almost wish these places would make like the guest bathrooms just a little bit smaller and just have like more living room space, but it is what it is. And then we come on to the spare bedroom / office, and I just loved these windows, and I loved the natural light that was coming in. And once again, some pretty good storage in there as well. So all up, we actually had a very good experience. We would have been happy with any of those 5 apartments. So it's definitely worth the hours and hours spent on Street Easy, and also putting together like a list of requirements and kind of like the things that were like essential to us. We did officially sign the lease, and that was to apartment number 1. I'm so glad we saw that one first, because it was in my mind every single apartment that we went to, and the fact that it was super high ceilings and it still felt like it had a little bit of a charm to it. It wasn't so clinical, and we are just so happy with that apartment. I honestly can't wait for this next chapter and to bring you all along. To think to come from New Zealand to London with no real game plan, and to have built this life for me in London, which I'm so appreciative and grateful of, to now take this next step and go to another major city and to take on that new adventure and the new challenges and the ups and the downs that'll come with that as well. And I'm so excited for it. I have no idea what the future kind of like holds for like my fiance and I, and whether we'll love New York, whether we'll hate it. Like, I'm just looking forward to it, and I'm so looking forward to bringing you all along, and I'm so grateful for you all as well. This year's been a very, very stressful year, and yeah, I'm so grateful for you all just watching, and yeah, I hope you all have a great new year, and I will see you all in 2025, and I'll see you all in New York.